Greetings, beloved Rainbow Warriors. How are you? Happy spring equinox and happy full moon today. Our full moon is in Libra. And so it's my joy to share with you. I wrote this really beautiful article last night. And this is a video inviting you to read the article. And also I'm going to just share a couple things that are in the article. If you're on social media and you'd rather see this in a video. So it's a beautiful shift of the time of year that we're in. And for me, this was the first deep winter I felt. And I know that people who live north of me or who really live in winter, I live in Boulder, Colorado, but I'm from Florida. And I was saturated. I got sick 3 times this winter. So our move into spring in the Northern Hemisphere marks this beautiful cycle of rebirth. And it's a meeting of the light and the dark, these polar opposites, that through the spark of chemistry that is created by the meeting of 2 opposites, when 2 poles are magnetically attracted to each other, it births a new life, it births new identity, it births consciousness and matter and forms and spring. And so today the sun enters the sign of Aries, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the cardinal fire. It's the beginning. It's that spark of life, that impotence to push and drive and go head first into things, and to really just move without too much thought and processing, but to go onto an impulse. And that's a very exciting, beautiful energy. The polarity of that energy is the full moon today that we're having in Libra. That polarity of Libra, and there is a shadow part of that, which is we go back, we go forward, we hem and we haw, we balance, we balance by sometimes hesitation, pulling ourselves back. That drive, that impetus to just go forward and jump and leap is pulled back by that cautionary sense of but what if? So these 2 poles tend to balance each other out because there's that passionate drive. And sometimes when you go head first into things, you crash. And then other times when you hold yourself back too much, then you never move forward. So it's really important to be a balance of these 2 polarities. There's also, in relationships, the Aries represents the I, the force, the masculine, warlike principle. And the Libra, the feminine. Is Libra a feminine sign? I don't know, actually, if that's true. I know Scorpio is a feminine sign. But Libra is like the balance between the 2 hemispheres. Libra is to be in a relational quality with an other. So an other partner, and self-sacrifice, allowing your desires to be in service to the container of the we. And I speak about this in the article a lot. I'm pulling from David Data's work, which I'm actually getting to practice and implement with my partner, about how do we even go beyond, the we in the container of the relationship into the all, because that's ultimately where, on a yogic path, for those of you who are in a spiritual journey, we're really ultimately on, there's so many levels. So we want to balance these 2 polarities within ourselves, our own inner and masculine and our own inner feminine nature. And we want to merge and meet and synchronize these energies within ourselves so that we can dance between the 2, that I can be in my masculine when I am called to be, that I can be in my feminine when I'm called to be. My essence is more feminine essence, so I choose to be more in my feminine. However, especially in the new paradigm of relationships, which we are all inventing and creating together now, we're creating the rules for. And I had even spoke, as we're reading David Data's work, some of this was written 10, 15 years ago. So what really applies now, And I think this is really important for all of us in our relationships to really meditate on what serves me, what serves the all, really, ultimately. What does love want? And so many spiritual teachers speak about this principle. I've heard people talk about it with the law of attraction. How does life want to move through me? And then I ask and I surrender to life. I surrender to that form, and I take inspired action that is guided by the forces of life beyond my own individual identity. And then that inspired action brings me into the flow state. And that flow state allows me to create more than I could create of my own impetus. we know the ego is control and holding on. So it's very important to allow ourselves to shift our perspective to a wider scope, to allow things that we could not think of on our own to be embodied through us. And that is how people accomplish more in a day. In the 24-hour sets that we have of that day, we are able to birth more through us. I also want to speak for a moment about the astrology of the times and the cycles of time. I was recently gifted just this last week to be amongst the Mayan energy. So I was in the temples of Tulum and Ekbalam and on the Yucatan Peninsula and really absorbing the culture. And what was brought to my attention was the validity of astrology and the cycles of time, and how, my cat saying hi, and how, the ancients really worshipped these cycles and the luminaries, the solar system, the planets, the moon, because they guided us to be in attunement, in alignment with what was happening in a cosmic level. So there was no separation, again, surrendering to the all between the earth, the sky, and us. We were one with all that is. We were in service to life. And therefore, life was in service to us. And it was a symbiotic relationship between both of us. And it is only with the last paradigm of thought where we were like, oh, we're going to dominate nature. And that separated us from the medicine of the plants and being healed. And that's okay. Our consciousness had to go through that evolutionary shift in order to come back to itself. It's explained in the yugas in Hinduism, is that we come full circle. And it actually, I heard once, it goes with the system Sirius, which is a binary star that goes around the Earth. And when we're furthest away from the planet Sirius, or the star system Sirius, which may have been our creator generators, but we'll get into that another time, then we have a dark age of consciousness on this planet, and things are removed from us. But when we are closest to it, we have a golden age, and then people are all awoken up. So isn't that beautiful to know? So these times are portals, and it's really important to meditate and to intend. And what I noticed in my own journey, and maybe some of you as well, is that we had this time of purging a few weeks ago, like a deep purge. And then I remember I was sick during that time. And then now we're allowing ourselves to walk in the new light. So may you have a beautiful, blessed spring. If you are feeling unstable during this time, you are more than welcome to reach out for me. I do healing work. I do energy sessions, sound healing ceremony, intuitive readings. I can do all of these things remote. There is no separation when you're attuning to the astral etheric consciousness. So energy healing, counseling services. You can check out my work on my website, which is infiniteeverything.net, or just send me a message or a comment whenever you're seeing this video. I would love to know what you are creating during this time, what you are rebirthing into spring. So if you would like to speak that intention wherever you're seeing this, please do so in the comments below. It is such a beautiful gift that we're walking into this time together. It feels like a whole new energy. And this, Aries new moon that's going to come up, this is really going to rebirth. This is going to start this 2019 energy. I feel like we have these chapters of time from cycle to cycle to cycle. So whatever holiday you're celebrating, whether it be many of the festivals of the year, enjoy your spring in the Northern Hemisphere, enjoy your beautiful full moon equinox, send prayers out and rainbow warrior light to the intergalactic web so that we raise the vibration of the planet and celebrate each other as one and as love. Aho, namaste, and so it is. In love, light, and warrior spirit, Michelle Coutinho. Michelle Infinity. Blessings to you this day. Aho.